20 years I've spent cleaning the Monroe County Courthouse. Started at 20 needing any job available. Having dropped out of school at 16 with no diploma, no real skills, just a sturdy back and the willingness to put in work. The courthouse took me on, scrubbing bathrooms, mopping corridors, dumping trash from courtrooms where attorneys debated cases I couldn't follow. I assumed this was my ceiling, janitor, full stop. But 2 decades of listening reshapes a person. I'm 40 now, and I'm not only a janitor anymore. I'm also a law student. Started taking night classes 2 years back, community college first, then transferred to the state university on a full scholarship tied to my age and income bracket. For evenings weekly, once my shift wraps, I'm sitting in a classroom absorbing torts, contracts, constitutional law. During daylight hours, I study actual cases unfolding right in the courthouse I clean. I know every courtroom, every judge, every attorney by sight. None of them know me beyond the guy emptying wastebaskets. But I know them. And on one particular Tuesday morning in October, that accumulated knowledge ended up saving someone, her fortune anyway, which for Marion Bogart amounted to roughly the same thing. Have you ever had people write you off because of your job title? Tell me about it in the comments. And if underdog stories, second chances, and proving doubters wrong are your thing, hit subscribe and the notification bell so you catch our next one. I was running a rag over the hallway water fountain outside courtroom 3B. Inside, Bogart versus Hawkins was underway, a divorce case high profile enough to land in the news. Marion Bogart had built a fashion empire from nothing. Her label, Bogart Couture, carried a valuation pushing $1 billion. Her ex-husband Christian Hawkins wanted half. 10 years of marriage, and his contribution, based on what I'd gathered from the filings, amounted to charm, his last name, and showing up at galas. Money, business sense, actual labor? None of that. Still, married is married, and even in this state's modified community property framework, that mattered, except Marianne had an airtight prenup. Christian stood to collect $5 million, generous, but nowhere close to half. His argument was that he'd signed under duress, that Marianne had concealed assets, that he deserved a bigger cut. His attorney was costly and combative. Marianne's lawyer was reportedly better, Adam Hart, a recognizable name from a major firm. I'd watched him move through the courthouse for 3 days straight, sharp suit, assured stride, the walk of someone who already knew he was good at his job. But that particular morning, something shifted. I was wiping down the fountain when raised voices spilled out of the courtroom. Judge Goodwin, clearly angry. Mr. Hart, what point are you trying to make? Your Honor, I received a message this morning. I can no longer represent Ms. Bogart. Dead silence. Then you what? I'm withdrawing from the case. Effective immediately. Conflict of interest. Mr. Hart, we're in the middle of trial. Day 3. You can't just. I can, Your Honor. And I am. I've sent Ms. Bogart notification. I am sorry. Suitsteps, fast, agitated. The courtroom door flew open and Adam Hart walked out, face flushed, eyes forward, never glancing back. Gone. I stood frozen, mop still in hand. Inside, chaos was brewing. I shouldn't have, but I cracked the door open and peeked in. Marion Bogart sat alone at the defense table, staring at her phone, color drained from her face. Judge Goodwin was flipping through paperwork. Ms. Bogart, did you know your attorney was withdrawing? She glanced up. I got a text. 5 minutes ago. He said he couldn't continue. Something about a conflict. But we've been working together for months. There's no conflict. I don't understand. Christian Hawkins sat smirking at the plaintiff's table while his attorney, Gerald Vance, slick to the bone, leaned in and whispered something. Christian laughed. Judge Goodwin sighed. Ms. Bogart, you need representation. I'm calling a recess. You have until 1 p.m. to find new attorney. If you can't, we'll proceed without counsel. Your Honor, that's not fair. That's the law. 1 p.m. recess. Gavel down. Everyone rose. Marion stayed seated, still staring at her phone. I shut the door and returned to my mop, mind racing. Something didn't add up. Adam Hart doesn't abandon a trial midway over a conflict of interest that materializes out of nowhere on day 3. Someone had gotten to him, and I'd have bet every dollar I owned that Christian Hawkins was behind it. I was in the janitor's closet on break, eating a sandwich when my phone buzzed. Text from my professor, Jonathan Olson. Dan, lunch today? Usual spot. Jonathan taught my constitutional law course, but he'd evolve into more than just an instructor, a mentor, a friend, 70 years old, retired from active practice, but still teaching, still in love with the law itself. We met weekly to talk cases and theory. He treated me as an equal, not as the janitor who happened to be sitting in his lecture hall. I texted back, "Can't today. Something happening at the courthouse. Can I call you?" Of course. I called. "Dan, what's going on?" "Professor, you know the Bogart case? The divorce. I've been following it. High stakes." "What?" "Her lawyer just quit. Mid-trial. Says conflict of interest. But I don't buy it. That's highly unusual. I think the husband got to him, bribed him, threatened him, something. Do you have proof?" "No. Just instinct." "But professor, she's alone. No lawyer. Husband's attorney is shredding her. Judge gave her until 1 p.m. to find someone. What are the chances she finds a competent attorney in an hour and a half?" "Slim." "Exactly." A pause. "Dan, what are you thinking?" "I'm thinking I know this case. I've read every filing, every motion. I've been following the trial. I know the law. I know the facts. Dan, I want to represent her." Silence. "Dan, you're a second-year law student. I know. You've never argued a case. I know. You'd be going up against Gerald Vance, one of the best divorce attorneys in the state. I know. Then why? Because she needs help. Because no one else will step up in time. Because I can do this." A long pause, longer this time. "Dan, even if you wanted to, you can't. You're not licensed. But I could if I had supervision. Student practice rules. If a licensed attorney supervises me, I can represent her." "You're licensed." "Done?" "Professor, please. I'm not asking you to do the work. Just be there. Supervise. Sign off. I'll do everything else." This is insane. Maybe. But it's legal. And it's her only shot. Another pause, even longer. "Where are you?" "Courthouse. 3rd floor. I'll be there in 20 minutes. He hung up. I stared at the phone, then grabbed my mop and went searching for Marion Bogart. I found her in the hallway on a bench, phone to her ear. "I understand you're busy, but I need representation. Today. Now." "Yes. I know it's short notice." "No. I can't wait until next week. The trial is happening now." "Okay. Thank you anyway." She hung up, dropped her head into her hands. I approached slowly, but she was already dialing again. Call after call, rejection after rejection, and I couldn't find an opening to interrupt. Professor Olson arrived, gray hair, kind eyes, cane in hand, but moving with intent. I met him at the entrance. "Dan, you understand what you're taking on?" "Yes, Professor. Gerald Vance is very good. He won't go easy on you because you're a student." "I know. And if you make a mistake, Ms. Bogart pays the price." "I won't make mistakes. Everyone makes mistakes." "Then I'll fix them." Jonathan smiled, small, proud. "Okay, I'll supervise, but Dan, you're doing the work. I'm just here to make it legal." "Understood. I guess we need to go. It's already 1. We hurried into the courtroom, already back in session. "Ms. Bogart, you found representation?" Judge Goodwin asked Mary Ann, who looked desperate. "No, Your Honor, I couldn't." "I can represent her," I heard myself say. Every head turned. Judge Goodwin looked startled to see me and Professor Olson standing there. Gerald Vance shot up. "Your Honor, is this a joke?" "Mr. Vance, sit down." "Your Honor, this man is a janitor. He cleans this courthouse." "Mr. Vance, I said sit." Gerald sat, still smiling like victory was already secured. Judge Goodwin turned to Mary Ann. "Ms. Bogart, are you aware of this?" No, Your Honor, but honestly, if this man is qualified, I'll take it. I guess it's my best shot." She turned back toward me. "What's your name?" "My name is Daniel Murray, Your Honor. I'm a law student." "You are a student?" "Yes, Your Honor. 2nd year. And I guess Dr. Olson is supervising." "Yes, Your Honor," Jonathan said. "I'm licensed in this state. I'm willing to supervise Mr. Murray under the student practice rule. Have you reviewed the case?" "I've been briefed. Mr. Murray has been following the trial closely. He's prepared. The judge looked skeptical, though maybe a touch intrigued too. Mr. Murray, are you aware this is a complex case? High stakes. I am, Your Honor. And you feel qualified to represent Ms. Bogart? I feel prepared, Your Honor. Whether I'm qualified, we'll find out. A ripple of quiet laughter spread through the gallery. Judge Goodwin nearly smiled. All right, we'll proceed. But, Mr. Murray, I won't give you extra latitude just because you're a student. You'll be held to the same standards as any attorney in my courtroom. I understand, Your Honor. Good. Mr. Vance, call your next witness. Gerald stood, still grinning. Your Honor, the plaintiff calls Christian Hawkins to the stand. My stomach lurched. He was putting Christian up to testify about the prenup, about the supposedly hidden assets. This was it, my very first cross-examination, and it was against the plaintiff himself. No pressure. Christian Hawkins took the stand, confident, polished, suit fitted perfectly. He smiled at the jury as though he'd already won. Gerald lobbed softballs his way. Mr. Hawkins, how long were you married to Ms. Bogart? 10 years. And during that time, what was your role in her business? I supported her emotionally, socially. I attended events, represented the brand, helped her network. Did you contribute financially? I managed the household, allowed her to focus on work. And when you signed the prenup, did you understand what you were signing? No, not really. Mary and Ms. Bogart, she pressured me. Said if I didn't sign, the wedding was off. I loved her. I signed. So you felt coerced? Objection, I said, standing, heart slamming. Leading. Judge Goodwin looked my way. Sustained. Rephrase, Mr. Vance. Gerald smiled. How did you feel when you signed the prenup? Pressured, rushed. I didn't have a lawyer review it. I just signed. Thank you. No further questions. Judge Goodwin turned to me. Mr. Murray, your witness. I stood, walked to the podium, every eye in the room fixed on me. I checked my notes, looked at Christian, this man who'd lived off Mary Ann's money for a decade and now wanted more. Mr. Hawkins, you said you didn't have a lawyer review the prenup? That's correct. But you had a lawyer present at the signing, didn't you? He hesitated. Yes. Provided by whom? By Mary Ann. But he was there to answer your questions, correct? I suppose. Did you ask him any questions? I don't remember. You don't remember if you asked the lawyer questions about a document that would determine your financial future? It was 10 years ago. Mr. Hawkins, did you read the prenup before signing it? I skimmed it. I nodded. Mr. Hawkins, you testified you managed the household during the marriage. What did that entail? I handled things, organized events, managed staff. How many staff? We had a housekeeper, a chef, a driver. And you managed them? Yes. Did you hire them? No. Did you pay them? No. Did you fire any of them? No. So what exactly did you manage? He looked annoyed. I oversaw things. Mr. Hawkins, you testified you helped Ms. Bogart network. Can you give me an example? I attended events with her, galas, fundraisers. And at these events, did you introduce her to business contacts? Sometimes. Can you name one person you introduced her to who became a business partner or client? Silence. Mr. Hawkins? I don't remember specific names. Not one. It was years ago. Mr. Hawkins, during the marriage, did you have a job? I was supporting Mary Ann's career. That's not what I asked. Did you have employment? A job where you earned a salary? No. Did you contribute any income to the household? No. Did you invest any money in Ms. Bogart's business? No. Did you contribute any assets to the marriage? I contributed my time, my support, which Ms. Bogart is compensating you for, to the tune of $5 million. For the prenup, you claim you didn't understand. Objection. Gerald shot up. Argumentative. Sustained. Mr. Murray, ask questions. Don't editorialize. My apologies, Your Honor. I turned back to Christian. Mr. Hawkins, you claim Ms. Bogart hid assets from you during the marriage. What assets? I believe she has offshore accounts, hidden investments. Do you have proof of these accounts? I've seen bank statements, documents. Where are these documents now? I don't have them. You don't have them? Mary Ann controlled the finances. I didn't have access. So you claim she had assets, but you have no proof? I know they exist. How do you know? I know. Mr. Hawkins, isn't it true that you're making these allegations because you're unhappy with the prenup you willingly signed? Objection. Overruled. Answer the question, Mr. Hawkins. Christian glared at me. I signed under duress. Where was this duress? You were in a lawyer's office with a lawyer present. You could have walked away. I loved her. I didn't want to lose her. So you made a choice. You signed a prenup to marry a successful woman. And now that the marriage is over, you want to renegotiate that choice. That's not. No further questions. I sat down, pulse pounding, hands trembling beneath the table, but I'd done it. My first cross-examination, and I hadn't completely fallen apart. Judge Goodwin called a 15-minute recess. I stepped out into the hallway on weak legs, adrenaline still surging. Professor Olson found me. Dan, that was excellent. I was terrified. You didn't show it. You were calm, methodical. You dismantled his testimony. He made it easy. He didn't have answers. Because you asked the right questions. That's the skill. Anyone can ask questions. Good lawyers ask the ones that matter. Mary Ann appeared then. Mr. Murray. Dan, please. Dan, that was impressive. I didn't expect. She caught herself. Thank you. We're not done yet. Vance will call more witnesses. I know. But for the first time in 3 days, I feel like someone's actually fighting for me. That's my job now. She gave a small, genuine smile. I'm glad you showed up. Back in session, Gerald Vance called his next witness. The plaintiff calls Sandra Kemp. A woman in her 50s took the stand, well-dressed, composed. Ms. Kemp, how do you know the parties in this case? I was Mr. Hawkins' assistant for 5 years during the marriage. And what were your duties? I managed a schedule, coordinated with Ms. Bogart's team, handled correspondence. Did you have access to financial documents? Some. I filed paperwork, organized receipts. Did you ever notice anything unusual about Ms. Bogart's finances? Objection, I said. Vague. What constitutes unusual? Sustained. Be more specific, Mr. Vance. Did you ever see documents related to offshore accounts? Yes. I saw bank statements from accounts in the Cayman Islands, Luxembourg, Switzerland. Murmurs rippled through the courtroom. I scribbled notes fast. This wasn't good. If she'd genuinely seen documents, Christian had more than mere claims. And what did these statements show? Large sums of money. Millions. That weren't disclosed in the marital asset declarations. Objection, I said. Foundation. How does this witness know what was or wasn't disclosed? Sustained. Ms. Kemp, do you have personal knowledge of what Ms. Bogart disclosed? I know, but Mr. Hawkins told me. Hearsay. Jury will disregard. Gerald shifted tactics. Ms. Kemp, do you still have copies of these documents? No, they were on Mr. Hawkins' computer. When he moved out, Ms. Bogart's legal team seized his devices. So these documents exist, but Ms. Bogart's team took them? Objection. Speculation. Sustained. Gerald looked increasingly frustrated. No further questions. Judge Goodwin glanced my way. Mr. Murray? I stood. This one was trickier. She'd planted a seed, offshore accounts, hidden money, and I needed to pull it out by the roots. Ms. Kemp, you said you were Mr. Hawkins' assistant for 5 years. Yes. What were your qualifications for that position? She hesitated. I had experience in administrative work. So, when you saw these alleged bank statements, did you understand what they were? They were bank statements from offshore accounts. Did you verify they were real? What do you mean? Did you call the banks? Verify account numbers? Confirm the money actually existed? No. Did you have access to Ms. Bogart's actual financial records, her accountants, her tax returns? No. So you saw documents on Mr. Hawkins' computer and you assumed they were real? They looked real. Ms. Kemp, have you ever seen a photoshopped image? Objection, Gerald said. Relevance. Your Honor, it goes to the reliability of the witness's testimony. I'll allow it. Answer the question, Ms. Kemp. Yes, I've seen photoshopped images. And sometimes they look real, don't they? I suppose. So it's possible these documents you saw were fabricated. I guess it's possible. Ms. Kemp, how much was Mr. Hawkins paying you? I am sorry. Your salary. How much did he pay you? $50,000 a year. And where did that money come from? She looked uncomfortable. I assume from household funds. Household funds provided by whom? I don't know. Ms. Bogart, correct? She paid your salary? I suppose. So you're being paid by Ms. Bogart to assist her husband, and now you're testifying against her? I'm telling the truth. Are you? Or are you telling the story Mr. Hawkins wants you to tell? Objection. Withdrawn. No further questions. She left the stand, visibly rattled. Gerald looked far less confident now. He called his final witness. The plaintiff calls Dr. Kenneth Marsh, a man in his 60s, expensive suit, an air of authority. Dr. Marsh, what is your profession? I'm a forensic accountant. I specialize in locating hidden assets in divorce cases. Oh no. Did Mr. Hawkins hire you to examine Ms. Bogart's finances? He did. And what did you find? I found evidence of multiple offshore accounts, trusts in foreign countries, shell corporations, a pattern consistent with someone attempting to hide wealth. The courtroom stirred. Marian leaned in close, whispered, "That's a lie. I don't have offshore accounts." "I believe you," I whispered back. "But we need to prove it." Gerald continued. "Dr. Marsh, how much money do you estimate Ms. Bogart has hidden?" "Conservatively, $200 million. Gasps. No further questions. Judge Goodwin looked at me. "Mr. Murray." I stood, mind racing. This was Gerald's trump card, an expert witness with credentials and gravitas. But something felt off. "Dr. Marsh, you said you're a forensic accountant?" "Yes." "How long have you been practicing?" 25 years. "And how many times have you testified in divorce cases?" "Hundreds." "Dr. Marsh, you said you found evidence of offshore accounts." "What evidence?" "Bank statements, wire transfer records, corporate filings." "Where did you get these documents?" "From Mr. Hawkins." "Did you independently verify them?" "I reviewed them for authenticity." "Did you contact the banks directly?" "That's not standard practice." "So you relied entirely on documents provided by Mr. Hawkins?" "Yes." "Documents that could be fabricated?" "I assessed them for signs of forgery. They appeared genuine." "Appeared? But you didn't verify." "Objection," Gerald said. "Asked and answered." "Sustained." "Move on, Mr. Murray." I shifted approach. "Dr. Marsh, are you familiar with Ms. Bogart's company, Bogart Couture?" "Yes." "It's publicly traded, correct?" "Correct." "Which means financial records are public?" "Yes." "SEC filings, annual reports, audited financials." "Did you review those documents?" "I reviewed some." "Did you find any evidence of hidden assets in those public records?" "Public records wouldn't show hidden assets." "That's the point. But they'd show discrepancies, wouldn't they? If Ms. Bogart was hiding $200 million, her company's financials wouldn't match her personal disclosures." "Not necessarily, if she's using shell corporations." "Dr. Marsh, did you find any discrepancies in Bogart Couture's public financials?" Pause. "No. So the company's numbers are clean?" "Publicly, yes." "And Ms. Bogart's tax returns? Did you review those?" "I requested them. Her legal team refused to provide them." I turned to Mary and whispered, "Can we get your tax returns?" "Now." "I have copies in my briefcase. I brought them in case Adam needed them." "Give them to me." She did. I turned back to Dr. Marsh. "Your Honor, may I approach the witness?" "You may." I walked over, handed him a thick folder. "Dr. Marsh, these are Ms. Bogart's tax returns. Last 10 years. Audited by the IRS. Please review them." He flipped through them slowly. The courtroom went silent. "These appear to be standard returns. Any evidence of hidden income? Offshore accounts? Shell corporations?" "Not in these documents." "So the IRS, with all their resources, didn't find what you claim to have found." "The IRS doesn't always catch everything. But you did, based solely on documents provided by a man with a financial motive to lie." "Objection." Sustained. "Jury will disregard." But the damage was already done. The jury looked skeptical now. No further questions. Gerald rested his case. Judge Goodwin turned to me. "Mr. Murray, does the defense wish to present witnesses?" "Yes, Your Honor." The defense calls Marian Bogart. Marian took the stand, poised, composed. I walked her through her story, the business, the marriage, the prenup. "Ms. Bogart, do you have offshore accounts?" "No." "Do you have hidden assets?" "No." Then how do you explain the documents Mr. Hawkins claims to have? They're fake. Christian fabricated them. Why would he do that? Because he's angry. The prenup is ironclad. He'll get $5 million. That's generous. But he wants more. So he's lying. Ms. Bogart, if you're telling the truth, can you prove it? Yes. I brought my accountant. She can verify every asset I own. I called the accountant. She testified for 30 minutes, detailed, thorough, every asset accounted for, every dollar disclosed, no offshore accounts, no hidden money. Gerald cross-examined hard, but she didn't budge. The numbers held. Closing arguments. Gerald went first. Ladies and gentlemen, this is a simple case. Mr. Hawkins was coerced into signing a prenup. He's entitled to his fair share. Ms. Bogart hid assets to avoid paying him what he deserves. The evidence is clear. He sat. My turn. I stood, walked toward the jury. Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Vance is right about one thing. This is a simple case, but not for the reasons he says. I let that land. This is a case about a man who married a successful woman, lived off her money for 10 years. And now that the marriage is over, he wants more than he agreed to. The prenup isn't coercion. It's a contract. A contract Mr. Hawkins signed with a lawyer present. A contract he could have negotiated, could have walked away from. He didn't. He signed. And now he's trying to avoid it. Why? Because he claims Ms. Bogart hid assets. But where's the proof? Fabricated documents. An expert who admitted he didn't verify anything. A prenup that's been audited by the IRS for 10 years with no red flags. Mr. Hawkins wants you to believe his story, but stories aren't evidence, and the evidence here is clear. Ms. Bogart disclosed everything, followed the law, honored the prenup. The only person trying to cheat the system is Christian Hawkins, and you have the power to stop him. Thank you. I sat down. The courtroom went silent. Then Judge Goodwin spoke. The jury will deliberate. We'll reconvene tomorrow morning for the verdict. Gavel down. The next morning, 10 o'clock, the jury filed back in. I sat beside Mary and Professor Olson behind us, hands trembling beneath the table. Judge Goodwin addressed them. Have you reached a verdict? The foreman rose. We have, Your Honor. Please read it. In the matter of Bogart versus Hawkins, we find in favor of the defendant, Mary and Bogart. The prenuptial agreement is valid and enforceable. The plaintiff's claims of hidden assets are without merit. Marion gasped, grabbed my hand. I exhaled, only then realizing I'd been holding my breath. Judge Goodwin brought down the gavel. The prenup stands. Mr. Hawkins is entitled to $5 million as specified. Nothing more. This court is adjourned. Christian stood, face crimson, furious, and stormed out. Gerald Vance packed up his briefcase without a glance our way. Marion turned to me, eyes brimming. You did it. We did it. No, you did it. You saved me. You were incredible. Professor Olson stepped forward. I'm proud of you. That was exceptional work. Thank you, Professor, for supervising, for believing in me. You made it easy to believe. A week later, I was back mopping courthouse floors. My phone rang. Unknown number. Hello. Dan, it's Mary and... Call. E. How are you? Good, really good. I wanted to thank you again. And even though you refused the first time, I want to compensate you. It's more than fair. When my lawyer dropped the case, he also gave up the payment. So Dan, the $50,000 he would have received is yours. Those are not attorney fees. That would be illegal. But it's a gift that demonstrates my gratitude. Oh no, I can't accept. You can and will. Please, think of it as an incentive to continue your studies. Also, I wanted to make you an offer. An offer? You're graduating in 2 years, right? If everything goes well, yes. When you pass the bar, I want to hire you. As my corporate attorney. I nearly dropped the phone. What? You're brilliant, Dan. You prove that. I want you on my team. Mary Ann, I'm just a student. I don't have experience. You had no experience a week ago, and you destroyed Gerald Vance. Imagine what you'll do with a law degree and experience. I don't know what to say. Say you'll think about it. I'll think about it. Good. And Dan, keep mopping those floors. But not forever. You're meant for other things. She hung up. I stood there, mop in hand, in the very courthouse I'd cleaned for 2 decades, and for the first time, I believed her. I was meant for more. 2 years later, I graduated law school in the top 10% of my class and passed the bar on my first attempt. Marianne kept her word, hired me as corporate counsel for Bogart Couture. I have an office now, 23rd floor, windows overlooking the city. Sometimes I look down at the courthouse at the building I scrubbed for 20 years, and I remember the kid who dropped out of high school, the janitor who studied law by night, the student who stood up when everyone else walked out. Have you ever been underestimated because of your job? Which moment hit hardest for you? When Dan offered to help Marianne? When he cross-examined Christian? When the jury delivered the verdict? Or when Marianne offered him a job? Share your underdog stories and your own moments of being underestimated in the comments below. If this story about defying expectations, fighting for justice, and proving everyone wrong moved you, hit that like button and subscribe for more stories about underdogs, second chances, and refusing to let your circumstances define you. Don't forget to click the notification bell so you never miss our next story.